What's up? Happy Tuesday. Welcome on to Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Mark Zeno, MZ. How the heck are we today? Happy Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday.
It is also Tuesday post Super Bowl. You are back and better than ever after being christened by Super Bowl 56 we are in. So
50 what?
I wanted to say 54, but I'm like, wait, Roman numerals. They always get me all screwed up. But so how was the trip though? Tell me the experience.
Yeah.
We're there inside the Super Bowl. It's probably a surreal experience to say the least.
It was truly incredible, honestly, like once in a lifetime experience. My cousin somehow pulled front row tickets right behind the Bengals bench. So that was unbelievable, being able to be like right there, right up close, like experience it. It was just, the energy was incredible. We went into the stadium around like noon. Like we were there for 3.5 hours before the game started, walking around, just like soaking in SoFi, watching the guys warm up on the field. Like I bought probably way more hats than I don't know why. Every time I go to a game or something, I buy a hat. I have like 100 hats. Like there's not that many days. Well, there are that many days in a year, but there's not that many days in a year to wear that many hats. Like I'm not wearing a hat every day. You know what I mean? Like, but I have 2 Super Bowl hats. And if you want me to send you one, I will more than graciously send you a hat.
Well, I certainly appreciate the offer, but considering I have zero affinity to the Rams or Bengals, and
it doesn't say anything about either team.
Oh, okay. Well, then,
yeah. I just wanted to a memory piece to show that I was actually there, because picks or it didn't happen, hats or it didn't happen. Right?
Now, let me ask you one question about this, because this was the first year they did something that they've never done before, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I guess because it was LA, but The Rock came out and did like an intro. And so it looked pretty good on TV. And who doesn't love The Rock, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you could grow up and redo your life, you'd be The Rock,
I would be The Rock in my next life.
Yeah. I mean, what can I say except you're welcome? That's pretty much it.
Dude is freaking massive in person.
Yes.
Like so big, like chiseled, just like massive shoulders, like small waist, big butt.
So few of us.
Just like a specimen of a human being, to be honest.
So, but what was that like when he was doing his intro? Was the place electric? Because some of it's on TV a little bit weird, like they weren't really sure what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, honestly, I just think everyone was in such awe. Like if they couldn't have chosen someone that's better than him for that. Right. Like that role was made for him to be able to do that. It was really cool because he was standing probably not even like 50 yards away from us where we were sitting. And I was just like, it was almost like you wanted to cheer, but like you were also just like kind of staring at the same time. You know what I mean? Like that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The Rock. Like it's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Don't make me do the whole thing, but like it was sick. Like it got me pumped up. Like I was ready to run through a brick wall and I wasn't even playing. So you know what? Like it's fine. It's good. Yeah.
So did you have a monetary investment in the game from the sidelines?
I did. I had quite a bit of juice.
Recap the winners for me then, at least. I won't make you go over the bad parts.
Yeah, so I had Bengals money line, obviously didn't hit. Bengals spread though, I had him at plus 4.5, covered that. I parlayed my Matt Stafford over a half interception with Joe Mixon under 95.5 rushing receiving. That hit. I had Orange Gatorade, that didn't hit. I had Tails. Tails never fails. And it freaking failed me this time. It's okay. What else did I have? I don't remember what else. Oh, I had a defense special teams touchdown. Yeah, so I was like 50-50 for the day, but still up because a lot of like what I was betting was plus money. So the juice was worth the squeeze with most of it. What did you bet for the Super Bowl?
I was on the Bengals plus 4.5. I had the Rams -3 in the first half, which pushed. I had under 23.5, which hit, thankfully, in the most weirdest of ways, that 23.5 held in the first half. I had over 5.5 sacks in the game, that hit. I backed Odell in his receptions and his yardage, obviously. When he gets injured, it doesn't happen. Jamar Chase fell 1 reception shy of his over 5.5. I had longest field goal under 47.5 yards. That hit. And I think there was one more. Oh, there's the Joe Burrow rushing yards prop that just killed me of him not getting 11 yards. I really thought that he was going to take off at some point and run. He just never did. And that was kind of like my big bet that didn't come through. But it was sort of the same thing. That's the bad part about Super Bowl. When you take like 7 or 8 props chances are you're probably breaking even, if not losing a little bit because of the juice that you're paying.
But
But
it
you're
makes it more fun because
yes,
you're in on like a
absolutely it
little bit
does.
of everything and
Every
whatever.
now and then you have a year where you'll hit take 9 props and you'll hit 6 out of 9 and you'll make some decent money off of it. But
yeah,
again,
or like me with the freaking postseason, like there was 3 weeks in a row and I went like 14-0 for my first
you
14
did.
bets.
Yeah, it was pretty
I was
insane.
like, there's no way I'm going to be able to top this like in these next 2 weeks because
That's when you just walk away. As soon as that
I
streak
know.
breaks, you just
It's
sit
like when you
down.
walk away from the blackjack table, you're like, no, just one more hand, just one
Nope.
more hand. And then
Nope.
I know. And then
Don't
you end up just keep going and it's just like downhill, slippery slope. It sucks when that happens.
Don't do it.
Okay, let's move on to our show today. College basketball predictions. There's a couple really big games that are going on. Villanova playing at Providence, Kentucky playing at Tennessee. We're going to break those down. We have NBA Morning Radar with Brian Scalabrine, 7 games on the slate tonight. And then we have NHL because there's quite a few games there as well. So let's get into it. College basketball. Number 10 Villanova taking on number 8 Providence. And we're betting this game kind of the same. You got a little bit better of a line. Tell me a little bit why you're on Providence side.
I mean, look, they're 14-0 at home, right? They're 7-0 against the spread as a dog here, Lauren. Neither one of these teams are great shooting teams. So I think this will be a tight and slow game. But I've been really successful backing Providence this year in these spots. They didn't cover against the Pauls, a 9.5-point favorite last time out at home when they get the win. But here is a dog. This is a great spot for them. I mean, I wouldn't even be objecting to a money line sprinkle here on Providence just because of how well they played at home. Ed Cooley, their head coach, is fantastic in these spots. It's just, why would you bet against Providence at home this year? It's just, especially as a dog to me, it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to back Ed Cooley and the Providence Friars today, getting 4.5. And I also like the under. As I said, I think it's going to be a tight, slow game. I think that benefits Providence. Their defense is really good. They only give up about 62 points a game. And especially at home with the home crowd, I think both of these teams will check each other a little bit in the beginning, keep the pace slow. And I think that leads to an under 130.5.
Yeah, I'm also with you. I like Providence +4. You got a little bit better of a line at +4.5, but Villanova is only 2-6 against the spread in the last 8 games this season. But they are 12-3 against Big East opponents. 3rd straight win on Saturday. They beat Seton Hall. They exploded in the second half of that game. It was actually super fun to watch, and all starters scored at least 10 points. They're going to need that balanced attack against the Friars. The Nova's offense is the best in the Big East right now. Their highest adjusted offensive efficiency in the conference. They're also the highest 2-point shooting percentage and second highest effective field goal percentage. But Providence, they're on a rampage of their own, right? 8-game unbeaten streak. They have an overtime win against DePaul on Saturday. Jared Bynum was on fire. He came off the bench, scored 25 points. Al Durham, Nate Watson, each had 16 points. For me, this is the one thing that worries me a little bit is Providence doesn't necessarily have the weapons to keep up with Nova. I don't know if they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a really close game. I like them getting the points. The Friars are 4th in the Big East right now, 105.4 points per 100 possessions, and 3rd with a 49.6 effective field goal percentage. Their perimeter shooting has been great in conference play, 37% against the Big East. They're only 5-5 against the spread at home, though, in their last 10. I think they're going to cover in this game. I don't think that they're going to win because I don't think that they have the depth to beat a team like Villanova with the depth that they have.
And I'll add, they're 3-1 ATS against ranked opponents this year. So they step up their competition in these big games. And again, with them being at home, I wouldn't be opposed to a money line sprinkle. Honestly, I think they have a chance to win the game. It's not a bad play just because of where they are at home. I mean, if their streak gets snapped, their streak gets snapped. It's one of those things, Lauren, where you see a run like this, there's never a problem betting into a trend, but you're always in that moment where, well, I don't want to be the one bet where the streak snaps, but you bet into the trend because it's been successful to this point. If they're getting points as a dog at home, I don't see any reason to go against them. It's Providence or nothing for me.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe I will tell you on that, but I am betting their spread. I am betting Providence +4. Let's move to Tennessee because they're taking on number 4 Kentucky. Tennessee ranked 16th right now. The Vols 13-0 on their home court. You like the over in this one. You're not leaning aside. It's hard for me to lean on a side here. Like I'm leaning Tennessee a little bit, but we'll see. I want to hear your reasoning.
Well, look, I'm with you. I lean Tennessee. Like I didn't write lean, but that's where I would go in this spot. Now, remember the last time these two teams played, Lauren, Tennessee shot 53% from the field and 48% from 3. They lost by 28. because Kentucky shot 68% from the field and 61% from three.
They would have beaten any team. They might have beaten
every other team in America that night,
Yeah.
and Tennessee loses. Now, Kentucky is allowing 68 points per game in conference play. Tennessee is 35th in America in scoring defense. During Tennessee's 4-game winning streak, they're averaging 79 points per game. Kentucky, during their 6-game winning streak, averaging 78 points per game. I feel like this number is a little bit low. I would have expected to be in the mid 140s, bet at 139.5 to ask both these teams to get to 70, especially with Tennessee on their home floor. Look, this doesn't go over. It's because I think Kentucky dominates and Tennessee just has a really awful offensive night all around. And it's a case where it's like a 75-60 kind of game, and there's no offense from Tennessee. So I think both these teams will push each other, much similar to the way they did in the first meeting. I'll go over 139.5 tonight.
I kind of like that. And I'm honestly, I'm not in on this game yet. I'm kind of leaning Tennessee money line in this one, because if you're going to do it, just do it, right? The Vols 13-0 on home court. They're averaging 74.4 points per game. They're outscoring opponents right now 11.3 points per game. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. And you look at Kentucky, they're 10-2 in SEC play, 9-1 in their last 10. They lead the SEC in shooting, 35.6% from the field. Jacob Toppin leads the team from the perimeter. He's shooting around 67% from three. That's pretty good last time I checked. But the teams that played the fact that Kentucky scored 107 points the last time that they played. Zakai Siegler said it was one of the worst feelings he's ever had in basketball. I think that they're going to come out and really give it their all in this game. The last time they gave up more than 100 points in regulation was back in 2006, November 24th, 2006. I mean, when you're shooting 68% from the field, you're not going to lose very many games, even if your defense isn't on point, right? Even Vols coach Rick Barnes said Kentucky would have beaten anyone in the country that day. Tennessee gave them room to get out and run. So I think they need to play a tighter game to be able to win this time around. Tennessee on a 7-game winning streak right now, Kentucky on an 11-game winning streak. This is the first time that they could beat Tennessee twice in a season since 11-12. But I think Tennessee is going to take advantage of the home court. And I think they know what adjustments to make this time around. Again, I have not bet this yet, but I am leaning Tennessee money line in this one, because I do not think they're going to let Kentucky take advantage of them the way that they did. What was it, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I lean on Tennessee in this spot just as a revenge game, right? And they're at home, and this number is very short. I didn't. When I saw the game on the rundown, the first thing I kind of do is just sort of look at a line in my head, and I would have thought it was Kentucky around 3.5, maybe 4. Given the way things went last time out. But Tennessee's defense is what kind of shortens this line where it is, especially with them being at home. But still, when it's only 1 point, Tennessee's actually a favorite. You get that classic spot where the lower ranked team is favored against the higher ranked team, and they're home. It's always a great spot to take the home team that's lower ranked.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Okay, let's take it from boys to men. Boys to men. Boys to men. Bring in Brian Scalabrine. Let's take it to the NBA court. There's 7 games on the slate tonight, including the Boston Celtics, who are 9-1 in their last 10 games. Scal, what the heck is going on with the Celtics? They're playing lights out right now.
Yeah, so a few things. Their starting group has gotten healthy, and their starting group, I think, is second in net rating, first in defensive rating, and they've been getting out to great starts. Besides the Denver game and also the Atlanta game, they've been easily covering in that first quarter. So the great start, and then you go from there. And now they have some trades, the addition of Derek White. I do think that the Celtic team had a direction and a purpose, and a lot of it with all the beginning of the season, they were still playing that stagnant basketball. They started moving it better, and when you get that combination of health and ball movement, and you still have the superstar players when the ball movement doesn't work, they've been rolling. But with all that being said, they have hit teams that have been, decimated by injuries or COVID or whatever it is, and during or just played bad teams during this time. But I do like the Celtics tonight. I still think, with this whole James Harden not playing in Philadelphia, they're going to miss Seth Curry. I do think that the Celtics they're one of my picks of tonight. I wouldn't bet the line because I could see this game being close, but I do think they're going to figure it out, and I'd take the money line.
That's actually my only NBA bet today is Celtics money line, because I do think that the Sixers are going to miss a shooter like Seth Curry without having James Harden in the lineup until after the break. I know the last time that we had you on the show, We were talking a little bit, this is before the trade deadline, right? And we're like, are they going to flip-flop players? What's going to happen? Are the Sixers going to get rid of Ben Simmons? Well, guess what they did? They got James Harden. Just what are your thoughts on that massive trade in general?
Yeah, so more than anything, I feel like the Eastern Conference just got better. I think Brooklyn now has a much better chance of winning a championship. I did not think they were a championship level team, on the contrary to what Vegas thought with picking them with the great odds to win the championship. I didn't think that they were a championship caliber team. I didn't think they were big enough and physical enough. And then I also, this whole Kyrie Irving situation. So now you insert Ben Simmons. I think the Nets are going to figure out a way to get Kyrie Irving out there. The Andre Drummond addition is an underrated addition because they needed physicality. Like Nicholas Claxton's a good player, but he's not a guy that you can count on going against like Giannis, Bobby Portis, even if Lopez comes back against the Bucks, or even Joel Embiid. So I think now Brooklyn has a chance. Now you go back to Philly. Philly has a much better chance because Simmons, wasn't playing, and you add Harden. So now that I look at this, it's the Eastern Conference absolute bloodbath. There's no way you can look at it. I think almost everybody can beat everybody because it all comes down to certain matchups. I wouldn't be confident if I was any of those teams, especially like Cleveland or Chicago. They're not a shoo-in to move on to the second round. It depends on who they get in that first round. So I just think with the additions and all that during the trade deadline, the Eastern Conference just got so much better.
Yeah.
To that end, Scal, a team like Miami that people seem to forget about routinely, finds themselves in the middle of this pack. Have they sort of gotten worse because everybody else has gotten better, or are they still as competitive with everybody else?
Yeah, competitive, they lack one thing, and it's only one thing. They just don't have like a lot of size up front. Bam Adebayo, it's a great player. I love him. I can watch him play all day long, but he's about 6'9", 235. And I think you just got to have a guy. Now, Miami, obviously with the destination and Pat Riley and Florida, income tax, whatever, they could probably get a guy in the buyout market. My eyes would be looking to a guy like Derek Favors. Also look for a guy like Robin Lopez, like Brooks' brother. And I just think they need one of those guys. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't think that Bam Adebayo can guard Joel Embiid at all. I just don't think over the course of 7 games, that size, it just wears on you. It's almost like in football, right? Like the bigger guys, maybe for a quarter or a half, you can hang. But ultimately in the trenches, the bigger team, it seems like it's going to dominate that line. That's going to wear on you over the course of a game. But I think in basketball, the size of physicality, just like the Bucks last year, if you watch any game or any series that they were in, their physicality won out. So for me, the Miami Heat, the best passing team in the East for sure, the best spacing, maybe the best shooting team. The one thing they lack is like size up front, and they're going to have to figure that out. They're going to need a guy that can go against the Embiid, the Giannis's, the guys like that are going to be getting to the front of the rim. And if they don't have that, it's hard for me to pencil them in as a champion.
You take it to the West for a second. Look at a team like the Lakers. Right now, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They're just 3.5 games up on the Pelicans, who right now are the first team out of the playoffs. If you're a Lakers fan, is it time to start worrying that they might miss the playoffs this year? Or do you not even think that that's a chance that they miss?
So I root for chaos, right? I love chaos.
We all do,
it's great. It's great for our business, right? When there's chaos, I do 3 hours of radio every day, NBA radio, right? And with the Lakers, that's an hour of show quality a day. So my favorite teams right now in the NBA are Portland.
The Lakers?
Yeah, because if LeBron James, they have 4 guys on the top 75 list. If those guys miss it, it just becomes a spin job. And who they going to blame? How they going to fix it? It's gold, right? Yeah. So my favorite teams in the NBA right now are Portland and New Orleans. And if those teams can improve and somehow push the Lakers out, it's good content. I don't want anything bad to happen. I just want good content, right? So I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're too good. LeBron James won't let that happen, but it is what I'm rooting for at least the Lakers. Can they at least be 10th and have to win 2 games on the road to make it to the playoffs? So I root for stuff like that, but both those teams are very good. I just don't know if the Lakers are this bad.
Spoken like a true media member. Always
yeah, for sure.
Interesting is always better than good. Just a quick question about the West. The Memphis Grizzlies, sort of like a little bit of an upstart team here. Now, they're probably not going to be as good as Golden State or Phoenix, but the chances you give them, let's just say, to make it to the Western Conference Finals, if they get a favorable seeding as far as the bracket is concerned?
I put a pretty sizable chunk on them to go to the finals, only because I was thinking if a certain amount of things happen and they make it to the Western Conference Finals, well, I can easily hedge that bet and end up making money no matter what, right? And then you can play the game of when do you want to hedge it and bet against the odds and all that. So I liked it. The odds were amazing. I think they were something like 4,000 or something like that, for them to go to the finals. And so I just really like them. I think the style of basketball that they play is very difficult to stop. And if you're not on point, now I don't think they could beat the Phoenix Suns, but the Warriors are the ones that stand out because if the Warriors aren't healthy, they're actually not that great defensively. And Draymond Green makes this thing go on the offensive end either. Like Steph Curry, great player, not a guy that you can continue to count on him to create offense and make plays for other people out. But with Draymond Green out there, his decision-making is elite. He does such a good job of playing off of Steph Curry drawing too. So, yeah, I like the Memphis Grizzlies, and they have the star, Ja Morant, who every game I watch is learning how to close games out, which is it's not the same. Like being good and closing games out, they're different. Like being good is like part of growing into being able to close out games. But if Ja Morant does become that closer and he's like trending that direction, then yeah, they have a really good chance of getting to the Western Conference Finals. But if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting that they beat Phoenix, but I'm betting that they have a good chance of getting there.
Speaking of Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, they're taking on the New Orleans Pelicans tonight, who you also said you want to just get a little bit better, maybe beat the Lakers out. Right now, they're 4.5-point favorites. The Grizzlies are. You're on Memphis in this game.
Yeah, so right now, Ja Morant with the ankle is questionable. I think Memphis, because New Orleans on a back-to-back, they just had a big win against Toronto. So there's kind of a letdown coming up. So I do think Memphis could even beat New Orleans without Ja. If Ja plays, like you might be kind of cashing in on a line. Like if Ja ends up playing in this game, the numbers could bounce up to like 7 or 8. But if he's questionable, and I think people are leaning towards him not playing. One way or another, I think the number reflects that. I think Memphis gets this win. They're just like what they do offensively with spread you out, drive closeouts, move the ball. That's going to be very tough for New Orleans to guard them on a back-to-back. So I really like the Memphis bet tonight. I also like the Celtics money line, like you mentioned earlier. Those two really stand out to me.
When you watch Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown playing, like sometimes are you just amazed by them? Because Jason Tatum's having a lights-out season right now.
I'm amazed that he doesn't attack and get downhill more often because I feel like he's unstoppable in those scenarios. I think he's becoming a better playmaker. Like ultimately, I would want it to reflect like Kevin Durant. And I know like not the amazing stuff that Kevin Durant does. I get that. Like that's part of being a star. It's the simple stuff that Kevin Durant does, and Tatum is like trending that direction. Coming off, seeing two, making a simple pass to a guy who's wide open. Kevin Durant, and I don't think Tatum is stat chasing. I don't, especially not on assists. But when I watch Kevin Durant, he just plays, and whatever the game is, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. It's so impactful. And I think Tatum is starting to learn that he can do that. And then another thing with Tatum is not all moments in the NBA are the same. The way you start the game, a team goes on an 8-0 run, your responsibility of taking that possession and getting to the basket and creating a great shot for your teammates or for yourself. I think he's learning that not all possessions are let me just do my ISO and step back and shoot a three. Like there's a game within a game. And I think Tatum this year under Coach Udoka is learning like the game within the game. And I go back and talk about superstars all the time. Like superstars make big shots. They allow coaches not to have to burn timeouts. Like those fake superstars, they're the ones that when a team's on an 8-0 run, they'll take 2 bad shots and that 8-0 run turns into a 12-0 run just like that. So I think Tatum is learning how to do that, establish his dominance, establish his skill set, even on when it's not the last 4 minutes of a game.
Scal, quick question tonight about the Charlotte, Minnesota game and a monstrous total of 245, 244, somewhere in that range. Like, I'm a big fan of under sweats. I don't mind that, but I hate over sweats where, like, I'm watching a game and every single shot that misses, I'm cringing. I'm like, I can't do that for 4 quarters. Like, I want to bet the under here, but it's almost as nauseating because every shot that does fall, you're like, oh, geez, here we go. How do you handicap this game? And I haven't seen the total this high. I can't remember when.
So will I get fired off this show if I tell you guys that I cannot do? I'm with you. I cannot do the over-unders. I can't. Like, there's nothing. Like, I go into games thinking, well, I try to piece it together, and then – two early fouls or two non-calls, they can change the outcome of a game. So, and I get it. Like, the over-unders are always close, but I'm with you. I hate rooting for, like, that type of stuff. So when it comes to the over-unders, I try to give you – I want to give you, like, some insight. I'm telling you, I might be the worst over-under person ever. Now, this is my last day working on this show. I really apologize that because – I'm so bad at over-unders. So whatever you think is probably better than what I think. I guarantee it.
I'll frame the question differently for you. With these two offenses being is it about these two offenses being able to score at that pace, or these two defenses are that bad?
Well, Minnesota's defense in the first quarter is pretty good. Here's the thing about Charlotte. I looked at this game and look, like, Charlotte's just not. I can't gauge Charlotte without Gordon Hayward. I know, like, Gordon Hayward's not really a big factor. You could probably name three guys that you would rather or should be all-stars over Gordon Hayward. But when Gordon Hayward plays, I like Charlotte a lot. When he doesn't play, I just feel like I just don't like the way that they play. I just don't think that – I think it's more selfish basketball than unselfish basketball. And I'll tell you one thing about the NBA. Like, unselfishness and selfishness are like a virus. They spread so fast. Like, if a guy takes a bad shot, then the next guy takes a bad shot, it can ruin an entire half a game for you. Matter of fact, it can ruin a week for you. And then the other way, like, the Celtics started moving the ball. Now everyone's moving the ball. So I just think Gordon Hayward is that piece that keeps everything rolling in the right direction. So when it comes to Charlotte, I hate getting on the Charlotte bandwagon without Gordon Hayward.
Yeah. Scal, one more before we let you go. All-Star game coming up this Sunday, right? Team LeBron.
Take the over.
The over-under is right now 318 and a half. So Zeno, it's just a little bit more than that 248 for you. But Team LeBron right now favored by 5.5. What do you think is going to happen in this All-Star game? And also, did you like that KD passed up on Harden?
Yeah, that was good. That was good television. That TNT won that night. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, the game was awful. Like the Miami game. I mean, Kyrie had a nice second half, but the TNT won the night when Charles Barkley called Kyrie Irving half man, half a season. That was amazing. I need size. I don't know where I should pick. I'm going to take Rudy Gobert. Why is Rudy Gobert, who's one of the most impactful players of our generation, always picked last in the All-Star game? Like, it was a great night for TNT. Another thing I don't do is when people don't try. I'm really, really difficult when people don't trying to pick a winner or a loser. So LeBron might play 5 minutes or none at all. He might just check in, maybe take a foul, and then walk to the bench. I have no idea what's going to happen in the All-Star game. But the guy who just proclaimed over-unders, I hate him, take the over. It's going over. The score is going to be 200 to 200.
Let's go. Scal, we so appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Have a great week. And we'll see you next week.
I hope I'm back next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll have you back, baby. We'll have you back. We'll work on those over-unders, okay?
I need help. See you guys.
Take care,
Thank you. Oh, man. Gotta love him. Brian Scalabrine. Love having him on the show. Let's take it to the ice before we get into our best bet of the day. 9 games on the slate tonight. I'll let you go first because you're on this Rangers-Boston first period under.
Yeah.
Under sweats.
New York Rangers, best team in the league at first period unders, 29, 16, and 2 to first period unders. Now, Boston is about 500. They're 22, 21, and 0 to the over. So they're a middle of the road team. But look, the Rangers, obviously, they get great goaltending, right? Shesterkin, as I always butcher his name. Shesterkin, whatever. I got my emphasis on the wrong syllable. Anyway, they have great goaltending, right? He's only given up 2.1 goals against. Boston isn't exactly a high-powered offense. You know, the Rangers have 2 straight wins here. It might be a little bit of an offensive letdown spot for them, but, you know, both of these teams sitting in the middle of their respective divisions here in the Eastern Conference. It's kind of that game where I think they'll check each other a little bit through the first period and see how things go, feel each other out, and hopefully we get a low-scoring first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm actually on that game too. But that's my best bet of the day. So I'm going to wait a second before talking about it. I do want to touch on the Battle of Pennsylvania, though. The Flyers.
I was almost there in this game with you. I looked at this game a lot
Really?
last night.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's tough because it's tough to find like a good number where the juice is actually worth the
Yes,
squeeze.
that's
But I
what turned me
really
off.
do. I know because Penn's three-way money line was like minus like 210 or something like that. And sometimes with laying 2 cents like that's just a little bit much for me, especially on the three-way money line. But I do like the Penn's puck line in this spot at minus 142, winning
Yeah.
by 2 goals or more. Pittsburgh's last homestand, they lost their last 4 games. They're going to be focused for this one because Philly, the Flyers, they've lost 15 of their last 17 games. They're only 7-17 on the road this season. The Pens have the edge on both ends of the ice in this game. Offensively, they're scoring 3.3 goals per game. That's 9th in the league. They have 6 players with at least 10 goals on the year, and they're ranked 3rd right now in goals allowed. So their defense is really, really stepped up. They've outscored their last 3 opponents by a 10-4 count. Pittsburgh has outscored the Flyers 16-7 in their last 3 games against each other. Philly just hasn't been good. No. Tristan Jarry for the Pens is 9-5 against the Flyers in his career, and the Flyers are 4-23 in their last 27 games against Eastern Conference opponents. 4-23.
And they're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league.
Yeah, they're ranked 27th in scoring, 2.5 goals per game. They allow 3.36 goals per game. That's 25th in the league. And the Pens are 13-3 in their last 16 versus the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they've lost their last 4 at home. I think they're going to come out flying in this one and beat the Flyers. Pun intended. Love my play on words there. Yeah, and I like the puck line.
Listen, I'm with you. I think the juice is what turned me off. I took advantage of a similar situation with this last night here on Let's Bet It when I took the Maple Leafs over the Kraken. Here's the weird thing about the NHL that's kind of different than the NBA. The chasm between the good teams and the bad teams is so big, right?
Really?
Like, I mean, when you get, hypothetically speaking, you get the Milwaukee Bucks against,
OKC.
Call it Sacramento or somebody like that. Like, there's a lot of sort of bad stuff that can happen in the fourth quarter of games that sort of allows the number to be closer than what it is. That's not really the case because goaltenders don't just let up on shots in the third period of a game when they're up 3-1. Their goal is to stop everything, and they understand that. So I always look for those situations in the NHL where I get a really good team against a really bad team, or a very high-scoring team against a very low-scoring team, and try to take advantage of it. I just wasn't willing to pay the 145 on the juice.
Yeah, so I am. We'll see how that works. We'll see how that works out for me, my friend. Before we get into our best bets of the day, let's go to Pickswise.com. Who do we got for a 3-star play of the day? Do you have a good one for us, Zeno?
Me? Oh, my pick, my 3-star play of the day? Yes.
No, on the website.
Oh, on the website. Well, listen, on the website.
Do I got to do it all for us? Come on now.
Well, I mean, yes, you do. Actually, that's kind of why you're in the driver's seat, and I'm just along.
I know, but my internet's being really slow right now.
Oh, okay. Texas -1 is what Jack's telling us. So there you go.
See why it's a 3-star play because if we just told you, you wouldn't go to the website, right?
There you go. Yes. Matt Weisenfeld, Texas -1 is our 3-star.
We'd love to see it. Okay, what's your best bet of the day? Garland
over.
over.
To the NBA, and I'm going to do something I haven't done yet in my play of the day and take a player prop.
Ooh.
Going right here to our backyard in Atlanta as the Cavaliers come into State Farm Arena. Darius Garland, over 19.5 points. He's gone over 19 in his last 4 games. In that span, he's shooting better than 50% from the field. Hawks will be without John Collins, one of their better defenders in this game. I don't like the spot for the Hawks at all, despite it's a very short spread. And I wrote about this game on the Pickswise website, so you can check it out there as well. But I'll back Darius Garland over 19.5 points tonight against the Atlanta Hawks.
Check it out, Pickswise.com. My best bet, Bruins taking on the Rangers. I like the Bruins money line at this spot at +122. Like you were saying, Shesterkin between the pipes for New York, but it's not hard to like the Bruins at this price for me. I really, really like them. The Rangers are playing some of their best hockey right now. Boston, they start off the new year with a bang. Dropped 5 of their last 8 games. Jeremy Swayman back between the pipes for this one after Tuukka Rask is basically like retiring, I think. The thing that's really tough for me, though, is Brad Marchand still out on a 6-game suspension after punching Tristan Jarry in the face, which you can't do. You can't punch a goaltender. Last time I checked, Patrice Bergeron still out. He's probably going to meet the team on the road. After winning against Ottawa, though, Boston might continue its road swing with another victory against the Rangers. The Rangers back on the ice for the first time in 2 weeks since All-Star break. So they might come out slow. That's the reason why I like Boston in the spot, even though they're missing 2 of their best players. The Rangers, they need to get their legs underneath them. 2 weeks off, that's a long time. Yeah, the guys are working out, but there's nothing quite like being on the ice actually skating. Not that I know. I've never really played hockey in my life, but it just feels like you need to get your lungs going a little bit. So I think they're going to come on this one slow. I like the Bruins money line plus 122. Lock it in. It's going to happen.
By the way, it isn't Brad Marchand the guy that you only love when he's on your team? Other than that, you absolutely hate him.
Yeah,
he's the most annoying player in the damn league, and you want to somebody to hit him upside the head with a stick. But if you're a Bruins fan, you obviously love him.
Yeah, you perfectly said, Zeno. Thank you so much. I really love that. Sometimes I feel like that about you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's not a bad comparison because if you check out my social media feed, pretty much everybody hates
me. So on that note, we're going to end the show. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Mark Zeno, I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. We'll see you again tomorrow. Don't miss us too much. Only 23 hours away. Let's get it. Let's bet it.